And good evening. I'm meteorologist Angela Buchman. Thanks for joining us here on WTHR Plus. We're streaming to give you an update on some strong to potentially severe storms. Most of the warnings and advisories so far center around flooding, but we remain under that threat of severe weather, with the main threat, aside from flooding, being some damaging wind gusts. This is the outline of the severe weather threat for the rest of today, and this is what we're tracking with radar. And I do want to give you several close-up views and a reminder, I guess we're still about an hour and a half away from sunset, but we will eventually lose daylight, and high water becomes much more difficult to see once the sun goes down. Don't drive into any high water, and high water is a big issue right now. Flood warning has been issued for a good part of Monroe County from Ellettsville to Bloomington. Slow moving area of rain, and the rain rates with some of these storms an inch or two an hour. So what that means, due to the slow movement of these cells, we could quickly get a couple of inches of rain in a very short amount of time, and that may lead to some flooding. So just be aware, the flood warning for parts of Monroe County goes until 10:30. We have additional heavy storms across portions of Greene County from Bloomfield north to Worthington, and some strong storms over Clay City as well. All of this slowly lifting off to the north and northeast. We'll see how far north this comes, but just a heads up, Gosport and Martinsville, especially for outdoor plans. Remember, the minute you hear thunder, it's time to move those outside activities inside. These are flood advisories for the southern sections of Bartholomew County, and then this stretches just to the south into portions of northern Jackson County from some heavier rain earlier this evening. Those flood advisories until 9:30. Still dealing with the rain in this area from Seymour to North Vernon, south to Brownstown. Not nearly as heavy as it was earlier. Some of those cells have now lifted up to the north and now impacting parts of Shelby County. So we've got some cells over Shelbyville right now. Just be aware, so far the threats with these storms, flooding, because the rain is coming down so hard and so fast. Heads up, Brookville, Connorsville, Liberty, if this would hold together, it's also drifting up to the north and northeast. Let's expand the view just a little bit to show you the movement north-northeast, but this is only going to come so far north. We've got a boundary that is sitting across the southern part of the state. That's the focus for the heavy storm activity right now and that flooding threat. In terms of Future Track 13, it actually did a pretty good job on the timing tonight, and it keeps the storms going through 11 o'clock, but in a weakening state once we lose daytime heating. So I'll have a full report on Channel 13 at 11 o'clock. Still expect to have a little bit on radar, but that severe threat and that flooding should be winding down. As we get into early Friday morning, much like the last couple of mornings, there will still be a few downpours around. I know I had one at my house this morning. Ooh, we can see those storm clouds as we look south from our camera downtown. It is dry downtown, but the storms are as close to us as parts of Shelby County. 84 degrees in Indianapolis now. It's been another warm, humid day. 88, 70 today. Averages are 85 and 67, and sunset is at 9:11. And as I mentioned, we're going to be really concerned with those areas that are dealing with high water, especially when the sun goes down. Future Track 13, early tomorrow. A couple of downpours around, but if you've got Friday afternoon or early evening plans, we're not expecting as much coverage of the storms compared to what we have now and what we've had the last couple of days. This is noon. Still enough moisture and instability. We could get a couple of pop-up storms going tomorrow, but I think we'll be able to count on one hand how many actually do develop. And then we're going to be concerned with several clusters of rain and storms moving our way as we head into the upcoming weekend. This is Saturday at 11 p.m. We'll see how this holds together, but Saturday and Sunday, the potential for these storm clusters to produce very heavy rain and some damaging winds. Right now, that threat of severe weather does not include Indiana on Friday, but we're back under the threat of severe storms on Saturday, and still could see as much as 2 to 4 inches or more of rain widespread And then some of these individual storms may quickly produce a couple of inches of rain on their own. It's just the widespread nature of the rain the next 4 to 5 days that will be a concern. And then we're going to turn our attention to some heat. Weather impact alert days, those will start Wednesday next week, and you can see why with forecast heat index values topping 100, and this looks to stick with us. So once that gets here, we're going to have several days in a row of some dangerously high heat index values, and we may see from the National Weather Service some heat advisories and or warnings because of that. And I'm going to restart it just in case you're a little late to the stream. I'll give you a few more minutes of the coverage of the reason we joined you here on WTHR Plus, because of the storms that we're dealing with and the threat of severe weather. The warnings right now focused on the heavy rain and the threat of flooding. This is one of the latest warnings. It's a flood warning for a good part of Monroe County until 10:30. Ellettsville, Bloomington included, and you can see we're still dealing with some very heavy rain. These are slow moving storms that will quickly produce a couple of inches of rain in a short amount of time. Lightning, an issue as well, covering Greene County and then back through Clay City. They are advisories, flood advisories off to the east. That will include parts of southern Bartholomew County into northern Jackson. Piece of good news here, the heaviest rain has shifted up to the north and east, now over Shelby County. And again, if this is only going to come so far north, which is the reason they're slow movers, but heads up Greenfield, Rushville, Connorsville, Liberty, and Brookville. We'll watch this area of rain and see how far it drifts off to the north and northeast. And that's where we expect these storms to go. And you can see the movement. Basically, I-70 south will be the focus for the heavy rain and the threat of flooding over the next couple of hours. Future Track 13 keeps the majority of those cells I-70 south through 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. And once we lose daytime heating, a lot of this is going to fall apart. Could have a couple of leftover areas of rain early tomorrow before a pop-up tomorrow afternoon. If you're making Friday plans, it's going to be a pop-up storm or two, not nearly as widespread as what we've had the last couple of days. Just thought I'd finish on this view looking south from our camera downtown at some of those storms in portions of Shelby County. We can actually see those buildings. So just be aware, if you are south of I-70 this evening through about 11 o'clock, pockets of heavy rain, slow moving areas of heavy rain will lead to some flash flooding. So keep that in mind. Never drive into high water. You never know how fast it's moving, and it becomes more dangerous once we lose daylight. So keep that in mind. A pop-up tomorrow, and what we'll be talking about when you join us on 13 News at 11 will be the weekend forecast, and still more clusters of storms. We can't seem to get out of this weather pattern, so we'll cover the weekend forecast and the potential of some dangerous heat as we look ahead to next week. Thank you so much for joining us here on WTHR Plus. Remember, outside the forecast, you can search for that, where we've got kind of some weather tips and things to help you out as well. But wanted to give you a quick update on the storms that we're tracking tonight, and we'll continue to keep you updated as needed, and hope to see you on 13 News at 11.